Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Cases, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Welcome the heck in to the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke is behind the glass. He keeps us on the air every weekday, live at high noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. So if you're new to the show, check out the other videos on the channel. You'll see what we're getting up to every day. We're talking Bruins, talking a little Red Sox. We'll also talk with Zach today. We're going to have a little fun exercise, a little fun summer Friday thing where we are going to bring a team back from each major league. We're going to bring a team back, and we're going to give you the exact reason why we are bringing those teams back. We're going to start with Bruins Prospects. We'll probably get to a little Red Sox later on, but Zach and I love to yap. So let's start where we start, and that is on this show with the Bruins basically every day. And now we're looking towards the future a little bit, mainly because it's August, but also because the Bruins need to look past this year and down the line a little bit more. Going to tackle one of the topics that you guys seem to really like and that I like talking about, which is the Bruins prospects. It's finally something to look forward to, I would say, for the Bruins. It's not that they're a top 10 prospect pool. Shoot, man, they're not a top 20 prospect pool, but there's finally something to look forward to. So without any further ado, let's get into it. The actual top 10 Boston Bruins prospects and why some of the media is getting it wrong. Here we go. The Hockey News just released their Bruins prospect rankings. And to be honest, it's messy. It's kind of a joke, actually. One of Boston's most important young players, a guy who I've talked about on the show a ton, is nowhere to be found. Not on the list at all. And the order, it's completely off. So let's break down what they got wrong. And let's give you the real top 10 Bruins prospects going into this 2025-2026 season. So here's the list. It comes from the Hockey News again. And this is put out there by Bruins diehards, Court Lalonde, who does a great job with the Bruins content basically every day that he's doing. And it comes from the Hockey News. He says Mick Collegeo, who's effusively apologizing in the comment section of this tweet. He says, it's not me. It's not me. It's just the people I work with. So throws them under the bus that it's the hockey writers that put this together. And I mean, obviously right off the top, James Hagens, of course. James Hagens, number one. That irrefutable. Like absolute lock at number one. No complaints here. He's the future of your franchise. Top 10 pick. A lot of offensive upside. Like that is the guy that you're hopefully going to be building around in the future. And hopefully we will see him sooner rather than later. And by that, I mean like the end of this NHL regular season. I think that's a real possibility for James Hagens and for the team for where they're both at. So that is I'm going to get into kind of the criteria of how I look at prospects that might be a little bit different from some other people. But first and foremost, James Hagens, number one, of course. Fabian Lysell, number two. I'm nitpicking here, probably, but I do feel pretty strongly about it. Personally, I would switch Fabian Lysell with Fraser Minten, who is sitting there at number three. I would have Fraser Minten number two on the prospects list. And that's someone I've kind of gone back and forth on a little bit, is Fraser Minten. But when we look at both he and Lysell, okay, they both played roughly the same amount of NHL games. Neither has played more than 25. So I look at for both of them being on the team this year and what they can do this year. That's how I'm looking at these two guys when it comes to the prospect rankings, okay? And looking at Fabian Lysell, I just have some more questions. Now, I know what some of you viewers are thinking. Cam, you just did a video the other day about why the Bruins shouldn't trade Fabian Lysell and how that would be a stupid move. And if you're not wondering that, you should check out that video. It's on the YouTube channel. And I get it. I get it. I do think there's some Fabian Lysell upside still to go through there. I just think Minten has more. And that's why we're splitting hairs between 2 and 3. So neither have played more than 25 games. So looking at what they can do this year, I don't think Fabian Lysell is going to break out and score 25 goals this year. Okay? I'd be a pig in shit if that happened. I'd be very happy. I just don't think that's how he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to break out and do that. I do think Fraser Minten can break out and be a legit middle six center at the NHL level this year. I really think he can do that. The upside in his game, the two-way play, the hockey IQ, like all those things, Fraser Minten really has. Like, he was arguably the top prospect in Toronto's system. He and Easton Cowan before the Brandon Carlo trade, which I think the Bruins are going to end up fleecing Toronto with. And so he definitely has that upside. And I think he's going to play on the penalty kill this year, which is not an easy thing to do for the Bruins, right, wrong, or otherwise. I talked about Minten a few weeks ago on another one of these prospects list. And I had commented on his offensive ceiling and how I didn't think it was that high. I think he's still going to be a good player in this league, but I don't know that the offensive upside is that huge for Minten because he's not one of those ultra skilled guys. But credit where it's due. I had a smart commenter, YouTube commenter, which might be an oxymoron to some, but I promise it's real. We got some good commenters on this channel who pointed out something pretty obvious that I didn't really adhere to. It was a really good point. This commenter said, how are you going to put a ceiling on this kid yet? He's played 25 NHL games. He was arguably Toronto's top prospect, and he just turned 21 last month. He couldn't even buy a beer from the time he was traded and playing in Providence till last month. It's tough for me I think it's a good point. Like, it's tough for me to sit here and put a ceiling on this kid's offense when he's 21 years old. There's a lot of room to grow. Fabian Lysel's a little bit older. He's going to turn 23. And he wasn't as highly regarded in Boston's system as Fraser Minten was in Toronto's system, two teams that are really struggling with their prospect pools right now. I think Fraser Minten, like, if you're asking me who's going to be a bigger part of the Bruins' future 5-6 years down the road, for me, maybe it's just the position, maybe it's his defensive upside and his ability so far, but I do think Fraser Minten has a much better upside for 5 or 6 years of Bruins hockey than Fabian Lysell does, and that's kind of the thought process in that. So I would put Minten 2, Lysell 3 as a guy who is ready to play in the NHL this year and can hopefully be a 20-goal guy. I think that would be a huge, huge deal for the Bruins if he were to be able to do that this year. I'm not holding my breath exactly. The rest of this list is where I feel we're getting off the rails here. Dean Letourneau at 4 to start. Okay, so maybe I just do this differently than hockey writers and people that cover this sport more so than I do. But I just look at prospects, and it's got to be some combination of guys who are pretty close, fairly close to getting to the NHL level and who have shown us huge upside already. That's where Dean Letourneau does not check either of those boxes for me. So I don't know how he can be a top 5 prospect. I get it. He was a first-round pick coming off of a big trade that the Bruins are going to lose, probably, that Linus Ullmark trade. And I understand that first-round pick should have that kind of expectations. But again, we know the story on Letourneau. He comes out of Canadian prep school and right into Hockey East. It was such a big jump. 36 games last year, 3 points, no goals. Like, this kid is a long way from the NHL. And he struggled in dev camp this year too. Like, I just don't know how you can look at that and say that's the number 4 prospect in their system. If it is, then this system's worse than I even thought. And it kind of goes the same way with William Moore behind him. Like, William Moore was just taken in the second round a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. He hasn't even played a game of college hockey yet. Like, for me, those are guys, we're talking like 3-4 years down the line. But by that same token, I look at a guy like Will Zellers at 9, who's the same age, and I'm like, that to me is way too low. I wouldn't mind putting Will Zellers at 4. He's probably 3 years away from the NHL, like William Moore or Dean Letourneau hopefully are. But he played a whole season in the USHL last year, and he was the best player in the league. He scored 44 goals in the USHL, a league that Dean Letourneau should have been playing in. that William Moore probably should have been playing in, or maybe should be playing in this year. I'm not going to knock the National Development Team program. It's pretty good. But like, that's where it's like, you have to have the combination. Yeah, Will Zellers, Dean Letourneau, William Moore are all 3 to 4 years away from the big club. But Will Zellers has already proven it at some level. He's shown a ton of upside, a ton of offensive skill. That's why it's wild to me to see all these names ahead of him. Letourneau, Moore, Pedersen, Grenwald, I think is how you say it. Elliot Grenwald, Quinnipiac, the defenseman. Like, there's a lot of just weirdness in the middle of this. And that's before we even get to 6. Georgi Merkulov, man. Can we be really considering Georgi Merkulov as one of your top 10 prospects in the year of our Lord, 2025? He almost shouldn't be considered a prospect. Now, I know he is because he's only played 6 NHL games, but he's going to turn 25 by the time we drop the puck on this season. 25-year-olds shouldn't be prospects. They should be has-beens or never was-es. And I complain about this regime, coaching staff, and mainly the GM, Don Sweeney, for not giving some of these guys a chance. Like, Fabian Lysell needs more of a chance. Fraser Minten needs to start this year in the NHL. He needs more of a chance. Georgi Merkulov is on that list of guys who need a chance. Like, that's one of the names we would pick. But maybe he doesn't need that chance. Maybe he doesn't deserve that chance. I'd like to see what you get out of him, but it's not like he was scoring 40, 50 goals in the AHL. He's a 25-year-old who's had 1 point in 6 NHL games. Maybe he's just not a part of your future. And I'm stunned he's still with the organization, to be honest with you. I thought for sure he'd go back to Russia this year. And he hasn't. And I'm not going to overanalyze the rest of these names on the list because, to me, there are 2 names that should be on this list that are just not entirely. And both I've done separate segments on this show. So check that out on the YouTube channel when I tell you who they are. But one I did last week, Chris Pelosi at Quinnipiac. Not getting a lot of shine. This is a kid who made the jump to college hockey last year, who didn't have the best start to his career in the ECAC, but absolutely turned it around down the stretch, man. He was one of the last guys cut from the World Juniors team, and he turned that into motivation for the rest of the season. He had 19 points in the final 23 games after he was cut from the World Junior team. He's a center, 2-way play, all the great stuff we want from the Bruins. And he's going to be part of a loaded center group, right? But he'll probably make the World Junior team this year in his last shot. And he'll probably take that momentum down. He's only 21 in March, I should say. So that's why he's going to play for the World Juniors. 21 in March of next year. I think Chris Pelosi deserves a spot on this list. I really do. Maybe even over Georgi Merkulov. I'll give you another guy who absolutely deserves a spot on this list, and I can't believe he's not on there. Where is Don Zlochmelis? Where is Don Zlochmelis on this list, my friends? This was a guy who the last year at UMass was pretty excellent considering what the first 2 years were. He really took his game up another level. And then he went to Providence last year and just took off. 12 points in 6 games. Like, he just became this scoring machine. He was playing on the wing with Matthew Patra. Definitely projects to be a center still. That's the position he played in college. But he's got close to a 200-foot game already at the, Hockey East and American League level. But Don Zlochmelis, to me, proves to factor in much more to the next couple of years than the Bruins than Georgi Merkulov does. Than Pedersen does, than, I don't know, Grenwald is a couple years away. Don Zlochmelis could be on this team at some point next year. I really believe that, and I don't think that would be a bad thing. So to not have him on this list at all really, really surprises me. It feels like we're just throwing some names in there because they were first and second round picks. But this is where it also kind of bugs me of like, let me put it this way. The fans were all over Dean Letourneau last year, right? Didn't score. Healthy scratch in some of these games. Just not making an impact at all. Barely even recognizable for a 6'7" guy on the ice. Fans are getting all over him. And the media, the Bruins media, is saying, hey, guys, calm down. He made a big jump this year. Probably shouldn't have taken that big jump. He's going to take some time. He's raw. And that's what I was saying, too. Like, it's frustrating to see that he doesn't score any goals, but he's raw. And then the same Bruins media comes out with these top 10 prospect lists, and it's like Dean Letourneau, number 4. He's going to make the jump this year. He's going to score 25 goals this year for BC. Like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? When I'm looking at a top 10 prospects list, I want to see guys who have huge upside and that are somewhat close to playing for the big team. James Higgins, while playing this year at Boston College, is close to playing with the big team. He's a top 10 pick. He'll probably be on the roster at the end of the regular season. Fraser Minton and Fabian Lysell are going to be playing for the big team this year. Dean Letourneau and Will Moore and Elliot Grenwald and Will Zellers, those guys aren't going to be here for 3 years, man. And only one of those guys has proven he has enough upside for you to get excited about to watch his college hockey games, and that's Will Zellers. So if you want to put him in the top 5, fine. I'm in. I think Will Zellers is a top 5 prospect. There deserves to be a spot for a guy who's still a couple of years away. But to put him behind Dean Letourneau and William Moore and Elliot Grenwald, like Georgi Merkulov, who's more of a prospect for the Bruins? Like actually, like going to make an impact for the Boston Bruins at some point in their career? Will Zellers or Georgi Merkulov? I don't think it's really close. Will Zellers is the one that's got the upside. Georgi Merkulov, I think we kind of know what we got at this point. I will actually give Don Sweeney the benefit of the doubt with this particular player. We probably haven't seen him for a reason. Fabian Lysell's 22. This guy's 25. That's a huge difference. So, yeah, I'm not in on this list. I think Don Zlotchmela should be here. I think Chris Pelosi should be here. I think Svedback, the goalie, should probably be here. And I think it's okay to have Dean Letourneau and William Moore at the end of this list because of how far away they are. And I think it's okay to have Georgi Merkulov off the list. I'd put Zlotchmela in for Merkulov in a second. And in fact, I'd put him a couple spots higher. I'd have Zellers at 4. I'd have Zlotchmela at 5. And then you could kind of, okay, William Moore, more upside right now than Dean Letourneau probably. Georgi Merkulov, you want to have him in there, fine. Fine. Chris Pelosi, though, he should be on there. Svedback should be on there. Vasek Planar. I know there are some writers who went to dev camp that wanted to put Vasek Planar in their top 10 and just were not able to pull it off. Oh, that's too bad. But I think there's just a lot wrong with this list here from the Hockey News. I'm sorry. I think there's a lot wrong with it. I think there's so many other ways you can go to make a more accurate top 10 Bruins prospect list that I think will fire up Bruins fans, which is what we need right now. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who would you take off this list? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? Who would you add on to it if you're going to take some guys off? Let me know your favorite Bruins prospects right now in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We are on the path towards 4,000 subscribers, and we're so close because we're talking hockey, because we're talking Red Sox and Patriots and everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Talking nothing but Boston sports. Coming up next, we're going to bring Zach into the fold here, if he's ready. We'll bring him into the fold, and we will talk about the teams that are no longer with us that we would bring back. I'm talking one from each major professional league that we would bring back into this league, and why, and what uniforms they should be wearing. That's coming up next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Elevate your experience with Grenco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grenco Science, take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at GrencoScience.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Engels 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to our show, The Cam Show, on Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm Cam Stewart, Zach Burke here alongside. We're going to talk about some extinct teams that we're bringing back to life in a second. I just had, Zach, a good friend. I'm going to call him a good friend. I've only met him a couple of times.
Okay.
From our Liverpool supporters group. Discord. He lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is one of the most beautiful damn cities in this country. Just became an American citizen today. Very happy. Very happy for him.
Of course.
Originally from Ireland, the great homeland. Sorry, I'm just finishing out this.
You're fine.
Which is great for this show. Here's
Well, that's okay. I'm trying to find more of my pictures for what we're talking about. So
we're doing this. It's a Friday in the summer, so we're taking the edge off a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about extinct teams. I watched a video on one yesterday that inspired me to do this, and I don't know, Zach, man. I get kind of sick of when people are like, "Oh, this team needs to come back." And it's like, well, some don't. Like some did leave for a good reason. Like some got screwed, which is probably more of the ones we're going to be talking about here. But some just like didn't have enough of a foothold, like didn't have enough support. Yeah. And it's not going to contribute to the league or the culture at all to bring those teams back.
True.
Or I think the same way about branding. Like for example, the Bruins rebranded their jerseys this year to look like one of their old looks, which I think is a great look and is basically the standard for the Bruins for a long time. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But there are people who are like, the Reds need to bring back the vest uniforms. And I'm like, do they? Like, I don't know.
Nah.
I'm not going to lose any sleep if they do, but like, change is a good thing. I don't know. So we're going to do one from each league. What team we would bring back. It can be a fully extinct team, or it could be one that moved. More likely the one that moved. And I have granted Zach this access, this agency. I don't know if he's going to use it.
Okay, I'll let you know once we get there then.
It's a team that can be from like a league that merged that didn't make the merge. So the Flint Tropics technically would be on the table. But an ABA team or a WHA team didn't make the merge. I think that's fair. I think that's cool.
And the reason I brought that up, I'm going to start with basketball because that's the one I have done first. So, but when I thought through, I read a great book a long time ago that Terry Pluto wrote called Loose Balls. And I know it's a funny job title, but it's about the history of the ABA. Yeah, and it's season by season, and it has like the different players that were played tell the story. Oh, and it's a great book. And it made me honestly fall in love with the ABA in a way, even though it was like this ragtag league of guys like, Mike Calvin and Bob Nedelicki and all, so I wanted to ask that because I know that the Pacers are a team as like the San Antonio Spurs that came from the ABA and were part of the merger into the NBA, but you had some big teams. Like, I don't think that people realize that, I was sitting here, I just completely blanked myself though. Like that's where you had the first franchise for Utah was in the ABA of like the Los Angeles Stars that they moved there. And so I just thought that there could be a team, but when I looked at it more, I do feel like the NBA ended up with the best options from the ABA. And so I think that ultimately what I went with was a team that I feel had success because they were able to win a NBA title. It was a team that I felt had a very good fan base and still has a very good fan base. And it's a team here. I have a couple. I'll start with this one as it loads in. It's got to be the Seattle Supersonics. As I sat there and thought, more and more about it, as much as I wanted it to make it, like maybe even a funnier one, like, the what was it? The Anderson Packers that was like, a meat, company sponsor. I have one like that for the NFL, but
you're looking for like you ever think about like the San Diego Conquistadors? The Spirits of St. Louis, which I think is a great name.
It is. Well, the thing that I love most about the Spirit of St. Louis is just all the Marvin Barnes stories more than
I was gonna say, you just get Marvin Barnes and that's
here, I have a couple that I did for when I was doing my pictures. But again, a lot of successful teams. A team that as a kid I absolutely loved, as I bring up that version of it right there with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton. It was the reason that team is the reason I became just a fan of the NBA. I love the Rockets because like they're my team now. And I think I eventually drifted towards them because in my youth, when I started following more, they were the close team and they had just won titles, but I loved watching the Sonics play. I loved Kemp. I loved Peyton. I just loved everything about it, even loving the history. And I loved all the jerseys from him too. So like picking one,
that's good, yeah.
The thing that I think hurts most for Seattle is that when they move, they leave with a rookie Kevin Durant and they become instantly good. And so it just kind of stings. Yeah. But go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, in terms of like actual reality of bringing this team back, there's a lot of checked boxes in Seattle. Okay, they've expanded recently to hockey, and that's worked. They're using the same arena they basically just completely redid. It was what, the Key Arena?
Yes.
Oh, it's the Climate Pledge Arena. So they've got a place to play. It's a legit pro sports town. It's almost, I mean, for the exception of that 12-year span or so, it was a 3-team sports town. And I wouldn't say, is Seattle one of the great sports cities in America? Probably not, but it's big enough that it can support pro sports teams, and it has. So
I would add the Sounders in there too. Like I think that they've shown and the Seahawks too. Like they've slowly shown that they can. I mean, they're very rabid. They have fan base for whatever sport they're in Seattle. It might not be one of the best sports cities like you talked about, but I do think that it doesn't get the credit it deserves with the support that they're able to get out there. So. But
I want to visit it. So,
I eventually want to move back up to the Pacific Northwest. So that'll
back up.
Well, I said that. I realized that my grandmother and stuff's from up there. So I just want to make my people. I want to make the move back to
my motherland.
After I said that, I was like,
I feel like this is such a random aside, but I don't know why. I've never been in the Pacific Northwest. It looks gorgeous. I want to go so bad. I feel like I could live there. I feel like I'm okay there. I'm okay with I'm okay with gray skies, big trees, a little bit of rain. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I'm in.
I mean, it honestly, it like rains more over in the UK than it does in Seattle. So like,
which I thrived in. I thrived in the UK. So
see,
for 5 months.
Maybe it's the stormy weather that you need. Maybe
I guess
need a little more doom and gloom.
I guess like I'll take like the UK did not get that cold. It would get windy, and I was in London, so it's southern UK. So up north it's probably a little bit different. But like it didn't get that cold. And it rained a lot. And I'm like, would I take that over single digits every day in the winter for at least for 2 months, like single digits, barely double? Like I probably would. I think I would take that. So Anyway, Seattle Supersonics coming back.
That is, yeah. I know it's an easy one. I think both mine are kind of going to be easy for this.
It's fine.
I just sit there and after racking my brain, yeah, that's the one that made the most sense to me. Jersey, because you asked.
Yes, I threw that on you. Yeah,
you did throw that on me,
and I know you'd have an opinion. So
I do. As much as I love that team from the 90s, I think those are the worst of the jersey options. I would go like the 80. I love just that green and yellow, like early 90s, late 80s. So I think the closest I have to it is probably the 86, 87 team here. Like kind of like that. Yeah. Those are the ones I want. Like you can modernize it a little bit, obviously, but I just think there's nothing wrong with that. That's my favorite.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, let's roll to MLB. Let's do my MLB one here, which might also seem fairly obvious because baseball, a lot of these teams are just really old, and you're not taking the Washington Senators back. You already have a team in Washington. I'm not taking the Braves back to Boston. I did think about the Seattle Pilots. I did because I love their hats so much. But
real quick,
go ahead.
They transitioned to the Brewers, right?
That's correct. They transitioned. Yes. They
they
got the surgery and they became the Milwaukee Brewers. Please, I dead named them as the Seattle Pilots. Yeah, 1 year, and then they became the Brewers. 1 year, and then 6 years after that is when the Mariners came in. So, all right, mine's fairly obvious too. Like this is a team obviously that has moved. So if you want to bring the Senators back, you can because I'm taking their team away. I'm going with the Montreal Expos. I just find the Expos one really interesting in that it's not a huge market. It's not even comparable probably to Seattle for basketball. Like it would still be one of the smallest markets in baseball. And they would still need a new stadium. But Montreal's a great sports town. And it is still like a legit cultural center. And when you look at the history of the Expos, specifically like the last 10 years of their existence, like they just had no chance. Like they just got completely run into the ground and MLB just did not give a shit. Now, part of that is, and I hate blaming fans, because I hate publicly funded stadiums, but that is part of it, is because they didn't have a stadium and the city just didn't give them the backing for it. And that is, a main factor in losing a team. But I think the Expos could survive today if they had a real stadium. I really do. They'd be a small market team, and I know, fans don't necessarily want their franchises to work like this. Like Tampa made the World Series a couple years ago. Like they're usually a pretty good team. Yeah. The A's are a completely different story. But if you look at Tampa or Kansas City being in the playoffs last year and winning a World Series 10 years ago, like there are ways to win as a small market team. And I think the Expos bring a good identity. It's a really proud city / province in Quebec. They don't want to pony up and root for the Blue Jays. They don't want to do that. They're super proud, I guess is the way to put it. You could have a team there that could survive if you just had an owner who wanted the team to be there. Again, they're not going to have a payroll like the Red Sox or the Mets or the Yankees, or the Dodgers. They're just not. And they're probably not going to have a team. They're not going to have a team, a front office that's going to spend like the Padres who overspend their means. But if you get some shrewd baseball people in there, like you have in Tampa and like you have in Kansas City or Cleveland, which is not a huge market either, that works. That could work. And I just think Montreal's a good enough city that they deserve it. And yeah, I mean, obviously you're never going to be better than the Canadiens ever. But that team, that franchise is starting to turn it around. There's going to be a buzz in Montreal again. I think it's doable.
Well, I wanted to ask one more thing too.
One last thing, because I think you appreciate this. I talk about how like they didn't have the chance the last like decade when things were going well. Everyone remembers the 94 team that was so good. They made the playoffs one time, by the way, and it was in the strike shortened 81 season. But in 94, they were the best team in baseball before the league shut down. And then they started a fire sale. And in those last 10 years, they develop and get shrewd deals for young guys like Pedro Martinez, Moises Alou, Bartolo Colon, which ends up being a terrible trade in the end. Vladimir Guerrero. Like, they had a ton of Marquise Grissom and all these guys they were bringing through their system. They had actually developed pretty well. And it makes me think of your team, Zach, the Texas Rangers, who came in around the same time. The Rangers came in 70, Montreal in 69. And both those teams were just nothing for decades, like just wastelands for decades with no real hope. And then in the 90s, they both start doing this. And the Rangers make a couple of playoff appearances. They get a new ballpark. And there's no question that baseball belongs in DFW. But in Montreal, they don't get that. They get robbed of their best season ever. They have owners who don't care enough and one that doesn't become the president. And they don't get the new ballpark. And they don't have the MVPs, Rodriguez, Gonzalez, Rodriguez. They don't have that. And so the Rangers, it takes a while. 2010, they make the World Series again in 2011, and they're finally champs in 23. Montreal never got that chance. So anyway, go ahead.
I was going to ask just because I thought about it when I was looking at NBA teams, and I thought about like Vancouver for a minute, and it's just and you kind of talked about it, like I think it'd always be the Canadian city, but I do feel like Montreal would be a place that could, kind of support a baseball team again. I think it's always argued, but I think that I could be wrong, but I feel like most American sports franchises are a little gun shy of going back into Canada for some reason. And
it's difficult.
Yeah. And so it's just interesting to see. But no, I'm completely with you. I would love for the Expos to come back.
I'd be in, man. I don't like the pinstripes.
You don't? I do.
I don't like the Expos uniforms the way other people do.
Oh, I do like the Expos uniforms.
I just like the logo is just a bit much. I like this hat they're wearing in the picture right here. This is from their last game in 2004. And I think you do like on weekends or something, the old school hat with the multicolors. Loved their last road uniforms they had for the last 10, 15 years.
Was that with the blue sleeves, or am I thinking of I might be confusing that with the Blue Jays uniform now. It was gray though.
You're thinking of Blue Jays, yeah.
Did it have like the cursive Montreal in red though? With like the floor over
the fleur-de-lis. Yep, which was awesome. And they had the blue uniforms with the red Expos that I think looked really cool. So those are the uniforms I'm putting them in.
I like that.
Shout out to Pedro. I would love a Pedro Expos jersey. I'd do that.
That'd be great.
I don't want to keep pumping up Montreal. I don't like them, but
I get it. I wanted to have a little fun at first with my football pick before we got there, because I did a lot of research just to try to make sure that, I was doing the best I could. And I just came across some very interesting stuff while I did that. For instance, there was once a team named the Tonawanda Cardex back in the early 1900s.
If you bring back the fucking Dayton Triangles,
I'm not. The
Decatur Staleys.
I'm gonna pitch for one team before I give you my actual one. But I just wanted to bring this team up. They were a professional team. And I'm pretty sure it was the NFL. It was one of the professional leagues at the time, sponsored by the Cardex Furniture Company. They essentially just paid for their uniforms. They played one professional game, which they got boat raced in, and never played again. So they are the shortest lived, least successful professional team ever in football. The team then that I did want to make a push for.
Wait, so sorry, what was the name of this team again?
The Tonawanda, Tonawanda Cardex.
Where is that?
Oh man, I want to say it's up in.
You didn't even see where it was.
I know I did, and then I was like, he's not gonna ask. It is in New York. Yeah, it's a city in New York.
Right. I just drove through almost the entirety of New York a couple of weeks ago. Never heard of it. Okay.
Then I discovered another team, and I'll have a picture for this that I did want to pick because it's more exciting than the one I'm going to get to. This team was in the NFL, won an NFL title. Granted, it was in 1928, but still, it counts. Right. When they did so, and they still hold the record
more than the Vikings,
the smallest city with a professional sports title, and that would be a team called the Providence Steamroller, not with an S.
Yep,
just the singular Steamroller. Now, the thing that I loved about this team, there were a bunch of different things. One of them, as I try to find the picture that I saved here, is that they played on a place that was essentially just a glorified like bicycle stadium. It was called the Cyclodrome.
Wait a minute. Wait, I need a second to process that.
Yeah,
Those
no, hold
are
on.
3 words individually. I know all of them.
I know. I'm trying to find the picture so I can show it to you. Here it is. All right. Oh, it's a damn WebMP.
A bicycle stadium.
It's a bicycle stadium. Here we go. I want it. It will let me do this. Anyway, it would hold 10,000 people. Just think, and it was really close to the like the field. So the problem is they would actually have like accidents of like people, like, you know, fans interacting with players at unfortunate events because it was so close there. I'm having to freaking convert this while I tell the story.
I'm just, by the way, while you're doing that, I'm stunned that you are so in on the Texans this year that you do not want to give up the Texans for the Oilers. Like I thought this was a slam dunk.
Here's the pick that I even thought about, is because I was like, the Oilers make sense, but I have the Texans already. There doesn't need to be 2 teams left. And
I don't know if there needs to be 2 teams in New England, but yeah.
Well, but still, there doesn't need to be 2 teams in Houston, especially when none of them have championship material. Like at this point in time, and I hate to say this, I will always love the Oilers, but I think that the Texans might be just as successful. Like you have to pick one or the other. So, well, okay, fine. If I can live in an NFL where the Texans are gone, the Titans are gone, and we get the Oilers back, then sure, I'll do that. But that wasn't the job. You just told me to pick one team. So
I guess I think you overthought it a little bit.
The team that I did think of before I go back, I'm going to tell you more about Providence in a second. Let me go ahead and tell you the team I actually did pick, and that was the St. Louis Rams. And
I thought you were really picking Providence.
No,
Providence. Okay.
I wanted to, but they were only around for like 7 years. But I mean, the Rams, another team that had a very unique personality, greatest show on turf, had a fan base that supported them, had a Super Bowl championship behind them. There were lean years, of course, like I think it happens with a lot of franchises in smaller markets, but to be just used as fodder for a league that needs 2 teams in LA, I've never understood. I think that's a little bit of overkill. I feel like the NFL feels like, oh, other sports leagues have it, we should have it. But I don't think there's necessarily a need to have both the Chargers and Rams there. So the Chargers were in San Diego. You either keep them in San Diego, move the Rams, or, you know, move the Chargers and keep the Rams. I picked the Rams too, just because of, remember, like when it just felt dirty the way they were pulled away from the fans back in 2016 too. Kind of had not the same as Baltimore Colts vibes where they just got up in the middle of the night and left, but still very much like a legal dispute with them in the city. And funny enough, I've just never had like a good feeling about Stan Kroenke, who's the owner of the Rams. He also owns the Nuggets too. Mm-hmm. And I remember that like back in this is like 2012, maybe even earlier than that. The Nuggets are he didn't even have faith in his teams. Like the Nuggets are in a playoff series against the Lakers, and he went ahead and they let them schedule like a WWE Monday Night Raw event on a Monday that would have been Game 6 because he was like, no way we beat the Lakers.
That's so good.
The Nuggets come around and they need the arena. So they force them. Kroenke's like, yeah, we're going to need it after all. And so they have to like make a move for it. It's things like that. He's never really seemed like an owner that cared more about the team as much as he cared about the bottom line. And the Rams just felt like a team that was the reason why they moved. Let's get back to the Providence Steamroller real quick. Now that I have my picture here, let me remove yours. So they played here. Oh, come on and show it there.
Yeah.
So that's a bicycle track around there, and it could hold 10,000 people, and they set like right up kind of on the track. The problem also is it rounded off the edges of the end zone, as you can see there. So
that's tough. That's difficult.
It led to problems. Another thing about Providence, though, there's a debate that they could have played the first or one of the first night games in football history too.
Is that right?
Yeah. They try to, I guess, floodlights. I don't know. Maybe they let all the bicycles park there around the track and turn their headlights.
Pretty cool. Yeah. That's probably it.
I learned way too much about the Providence Steamroller, just a singular steamroller.
Yep.
Not to bring them up. NFL title in 28. So loved by the Cyclodrome is what they called the stadium, which was
so sick.
Bulldozed in 31 after the the stock market or this, the collapse.
Stock market collapse.
Yeah. And the team just lost. They tried to bring back a amateur basketball team or a semi-pro basketball team with the same name too, but that didn't stick. So
didn't work.
Yeah.
If I'm going for one of those super old teams, I loved the idea in the Depression, or maybe it was the War. It was probably the War, where they combined two teams, and thus the Steagles were born. They're both annoying fan bases. One actually has something to tout now. I think we should just combine the Steelers and the Eagles again.
I'm here for that. One more thing that I'll just add in because I just thought of it, because I know you're a big sports historian like me and you probably knew about this. But the Oolong Indians.
That sounds right. One of the
that Jim
ones.
Thorpe. It was another similar to Kardec of where it was like sponsored by
companies.
Like,
it was
like it was like a dog kennel company or something like that. But the thing is, Jim Thorpe coached and was on the team that was made up of just purely Native American players, and they would have like big halftime shows where somebody would like wrestle a bear, and the thing became more about like spectacle of the halftime show than the actual like game and stuff itself. So another little thing you found. Yeah.
All right, we got one more, Zach. We're going NHL. One more. I'll take this if you don't mind. I'll take the NHL one, even though you're the one wearing the NHL hat today.
I am. I'm very pleasant, but yeah.
You've really thrown that at me.
Well, you brought up Thomas Chabot yesterday, so
I did, man. I was getting passionate about Thomas Chabot, man.
And so
2015
I figured
draft.
Yeah.
All right, so this is not going to surprise you which way I go. Hockey, there's actually a lot. Like, I really thought long and hard about the Quebec Nordique, and I was like, I can't do two Quebec teams in my list. I can't.
Although you're very pro Canada.
I know, right? And like the province I'm not supposed to like. I just like, I think of some of these markets that seem to be doing well enough, but like, I get it. Anaheim's bigger, but like, who actually gives a shit more? Quebec City or Anaheim? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. I think about that a lot. But the way I'm going, I got to do it. We need more pro hockey in New England. Bring back the Whalers.
Best.
Bring it
Those
back.
are, again, I know I'm not, love the hat, love the jerseys. I know that I'm not necessarily the hockey expert here, but there are no hockey jerseys I think I love more than those damn Whaler jerseys. It just looks so good. So the blue, the gray, so good.
Now I'm going to go against pretty much everything I've laid out so far. First off, like, it's not like Bruins fans love the Whalers. I think there's an appreciation for them after the fact, like there are with all hockey fans of like, hey, this kind of stinks. Like, this is a great hockey region. They had a great logo. They had good fans. But like the other thing is Hartford is not a pro sports town. Like it's not. Seattle is. Montreal is. Providence, no. Sorry. St. Louis is. Hartford is not, and it really kind of never was. And it's on hard times right now. Like, there's no way the Whalers could come back. But I love the idea, not just of that team, and it is pretty selfish. Like, I would love having the Whalers back because it means you could get cheap tickets for a Bruins game, a couple hours down the road, and you could just go and take over their building. But also, I liked the idea of how the Whalers worked. They basically had the Hartford Civic Center, which was within a mall, a shopping mall, in this 11,000 seat arena, 12,000 seat arena, which obviously is nowhere near big enough for the NHL now. And they were really like mom and pop running this show, players all over the place in the community. Like it does. It was something that was so good that they didn't know about till it was gone, so to speak. And I get a little controversial when it comes to uniforms because I'm going with these ones that Kevin Dineen's wearing right here in the last Whalers game. That one and the blue road uniforms. Those are the ones I'm picking. The Hurricanes have done a great job with their throwback nights where they do this logo on the front, Zach, and they have Fudgy the Whale on the sleeve, which rocks. It's just an awesome combination of really the two best logos that they have. But yeah, I mean, I was wearing my Whalers sweatshirt last night. We were out watching the Red Sox game, got a ton of compliments on it, legitimately like 4 or 5 compliments on my sweatshirt. Just at a bar in Southie wearing the Whalers logo. I would bring him back mainly because I want a team that close for the Bruins to go and play. That's not Montreal because that's tough. It's expensive and you got to go through customs. I would love to have a team that close by. The Rangers, really expensive. I don't think Hartford would be, but yeah, it's not really a pro sports town. So that's difficult to pull off.
Well, what's crazy to me, because I just wanted to look this up because I was reminded when you talked about that the arena was in a shopping mall, and I went and I looked at it. Oh, and it's great. I think they've hosted like other things still. I think I saw like a Frozen 4 or something banner up there. Like maybe they hosted at some point in time. Anyway, I decided to look just to see what Hartford's population was. And as of 2024, it was 122,000.
Yeah.
So
it's gone down, and it's still a big like insurance and banking capital.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those where it's like, I just don't think enough people live in the metro, and there's a lot of people that commute from other places. Like, I don't think you can pull it off.
Yeah. Well, here's what blows my mind.
That's Waco, brother.
That's what I was going to say. I looked it up just to see 146. And this is what 146,000 is what Waco's at. And this is what blows my mind. Because I don't know if we've talked about it at some point in time, but I know we used to talk about it all the time when we'd sit around and have lunch about how badly we wanted to make a documentary about the hockey league that was here in the state of Texas. Yeah. But just to think about that, then there was a NHL team that had a higher population
with no salary cap, by the way, in the NHL. So not even an even playing field. No wonder they sucked. Like, you know what I mean? It's just too bad. And I don't like Connecticut either.
The coolest jerseys.
Yes. And there's just too much competition. Like, you got 2 original 6 teams around the corner and another New York City team in the Islanders that have their own, and the Devils are not that far in New Jersey. So it's too overpopulated. It's not big enough. The Whalers will never come back. But I would do it in a second, and I put them in those uniforms.
No, I'm absolutely with you. I'd love that too. I don't know. I know obviously like this thing in baseball, like it's harder to compete. I've always loved just like the underdog kind of spirit of some of these small market teams. For the Whalers, it was a very underdog spirit compared to everybody else, but still, no, that's like, it's very much, you remember things when you were a kid and when you got into it, and like the Whalers were still around when I was discovering hockey. And so there's always a little bit of me that kind of missed them. So yeah.
Same with the Sonics for me. I get it. Anyway, thanks, Zach. What teams would you guys bring back? Let us know in the comment section below, and then like the video, subscribe to the channel, because we're on the path towards 4,000 subscribers and we're so close. And we need your guys' help. Thank you guys again for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube live at high noon Eastern time every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Check out the other videos on the channel talking Boston sports, not just Hartford and Quebec and Providence, all kinds of Boston sports as well. So check us out there. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday on another edition of a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internix.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. We understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit TwoSains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.